Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in central Scotland. Welcome back to another project, and today it is a shallow, tall gift box. It's lidded and it's made from cardstock and just layered with DSP. So it does stand up that way for what is inside it, and inside it is one of our FM mini perfumes. I joined FM last month as a consultant, and I hit 2 promotions last month, and I've already hit a promotion for this month, so I've had a little bit of extra commission over and above my normal commission, which they've paid into my FM account, and I've decided to treat myself. I don't do it very often, and I decided I would, and I would just say well done to me from me. Hence the sentiment. So the box is made using Bumblebee cardstock. Please excuse me, I've got a real frog in my throat today. And the designer series paper is a 6x6 flowers for every season DSP, and the sentiment comes from the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set. This one here, it's a cling stamp set, so it's the red rubber, and I cut this out using the Stitch So Sweetly dies and I used this one here. I've not used those for a while, and it seemed to fit perfectly between the sentiment and the box. It was just fine. So I'm going to show you how I made it, and I'm going to stick with the monochrome theme because I really quite like it. I didn't actually tell you, this is the gingham ribbon in Bumblebee as well from the new Spring Summer catalogue. So to make the box, I thought I would stick with Just Jade and stick with the monochrome theme. For the base of the box, you'll need a piece of cardstock which measures 7 1/4 inches by 4 3/8, and for the lid, more or less the same, but just adding about a 1/16 onto that. So 4 3/8 plus 1/16, and 7 1/4 plus about a 1/16 as well. So as you can see, the base is just marginally smaller than the lid, but they're both the same size, just with a 1/16 added on each measurement for the lid. And in terms of DSP, you'll need a piece which measures 5 1/8 by 2 1/4. You will need 2 pieces, if I could pick them up, which measure 5 1/8 by 7/8 of an inch, and 2 smaller pieces which measure 2 1/4 inches by 7/8 of an inch. Now this is a slightly directional pattern, so I actually did need to use 2 pieces of DSP for this, but for this box here it isn't really directional at all. So you would, if it's a non-directional pattern, if you want to be more economical with your DSP, you'll get most of these out of one sheet. And I was looking to see if I could find the bit that was left over, but I can't. I think I've tidied it away, which isn't like me. Yeah, you'll get a fairly decent piece left over, so that's quite a good size for a bag or a smaller box or something. But with a directional pattern, just be aware that you will need 2 pieces of two sheets, because unless you're using 12 by 12 DSP obviously, but if it's 6 by 6 you will go into a second sheet, because you'll need to cut these in a different direction to this one and these ones, if that makes sense. So let's oh, and I used Very Vanilla cardstock to stamp my sentiment using the Bumblebee ink, and I've stamped and die cut ahead of time. Again, on Very Vanilla it's just less stark than white, even though we've got little bits of white in here, and I've used the Just Jade ink to stamp that. So we'll pop that to the side for now, and all our pieces of DSP for now, and I'll bring in my scoreboard. And again, these are kind of small pieces, so I can probably get away with just sitting the scoreboard there. I'm just going to check that that's definitely in shot. Yeah. So it's quite easy for both pieces, the base and the lid. You're just going to score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. on both pieces. So I'll just score both pieces while I'm at it just now. And this one as well, 1 inch on all 4 sides. And then before I put my scoreboard away, I'm just going to double check which is the base and which is the lid. So this is the lid here, and I'm just going to count out where I need to put my finger notches. So from 1 inch to 6 1/4 inches is 5 1/4 inches. So I want to look at, I think it's 2.5. Oh gosh, I can't remember now how I measured the halfway point, so I'm just going to take a guess at, I'm sure it was 3 5/8 if I remember rightly, but I can't remember how I counted it out. So 3 5/8, just a little mark on either side. You could put a pen mark or you could put a little indentation, it's up to you. Get the scoreboard out the way, and then we'll do our burnishing, folding and burnishing. I like this colour, the Just Jade. I've not done an awful lot with it since I got it, but it's a really good match for the DSP, the Flowers for Every Season, because Just Jade is one of the colours that's in it, and it matches really well. So now I know which is the base and which is the lid. So we need to cut the corners as we would normally do for a box. So let's do the lid. And again, as I always do for my boxes, I'm just going to rotate each time. Straight edge on the rectangle, taking the score line away onto the tab. You've seen me do that quite a lot if you've watched my other videos. There we go. Last bit here. And we're just going to do exactly the same for the base. So just very quickly rattle through that as well. And I've got my new autumn winter catalogues on order. They're arriving within a couple of, in fact when you see this, this will be Tuesday that you'll be seeing this. That'll be the 7th of July, and that's the day, i.e. today as you're watching this, that my autumn winter pre-order is arriving with my autumn winter catalogues as well. So if you don't already have a demonstrator and you would like a catalogue, then do let me know and I'll pop one in the post for you free of charge. So now I'm going to pop my designer series paper on to the lid. So luckily I've marked it, so I'm going to use my liquid glue to do that, just so that I've got a bit of wiggle room, and just make sure that I'm getting some glue into those corners to make sure that they stay stuck down. And that's upside down, but it doesn't matter yet because I've not finished off the box. So I just want to get that central, but as you can see it is quite directional because these are little plants or little flowers. So we'll pop the pieces on the sides as well. There we go. So just make sure that I'm getting that the right way around too, and getting an even border all the way around. That looks okay to me. Turn it round, put the next bit on. Oops, I keep forgetting this is a new bottle. So I don't want this squishing out at the edges. And again, just make sure that I check the direction before I stick it down. And that looks okay. And a little bits on the other sides. I think that's the right way round. Now I know I stood the box up on its end, but when it's lying flat I still want the paper to be in a direction, so I'm not going to turn the other end upside down or anything like that. I just want it to be directional, going in a sort of gravitational pull, if that makes sense, so that if it does lie down, one bit doesn't look like it's upside down. I don't know if that made sense or not. And again, make sure just before I stick it down that I've got it the right way round. There we are. Oops. Take away that excess. There we are. So I've still got my marks where I want to put my finger holes, so I'm going to grab my 1.5 inch punch. I don't know if you can see that or not, and I'm just going to centre that mark that I made and cut about there, and the same on the other side, about, maybe that's a bit far in, about there. There we are. And then I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal Plus and hope that we'll be friends for the purposes of making my box, and just put a bit in each direction, a bit along the edge beside the fold, and a bit to hold the rest of the flap down. There we are. And a bit here too. And while I've got it in my hand and while things are going well, I'm just going to put a piece on each tab. Oh, I spoke too soon. A couple of pieces on each tab on the base as well. And then we'll get it all stuck together. Oops. There we are. So any bits that are overlapping at the sides, just press them back on themselves. That's what I do like about the Stampin' Seal Plus. If you can see that, when it overlaps it just stays straight, it doesn't go anywhere, so that's really handy. So again, like other boxes, straight edge to folded edge. There we go, and just a quick press with my paper folder just to make sure those edges and the corners stay stuck. There we are, and that's the base made, and I'm going to do exactly the same with the lid, just making sure that any overlap is folded back in first. There we go, and again just fold that back in a bit because it's gone over the fold a little bit. Straight edge to folded edge, just like so. And your lid actually ends up quite strong because you've got a layer of paper on there as well, plus some glue, which once it dries hardens a little bit, so it just reinforces that lid a little bit too. And there we are, that's the lid made too. So the moment of truth arrives. Pop my perfume into my box and pop the lid over the top. There we go. And the ribbon that I'm going to use this time is one of the 3 ribbons in the Flowers for Every Season ribbon combo pack, which I'll show you in a minute. I forgot I hadn't taken the wrapper off. So it comes in a pack of 3. The other 2 ribbons are this lovely white linen ribbon and the Midnight Madness, not Midnight Madness, Misty Moonlight. Is it? Is it Misty Moonlight? Oh gosh, I can't remember now, I've gone blank. It's the blue one anyway from the In Colours. But I'm going to use, I think it's time to stop and go and have my tea. I'm not going to tie it because I realise the ribbon's upside down. If you look, it's got more of an edge here than it has here, so I'm just going to make sure that I don't get that wrong. And I'll grab my ribbon scissors, so about there. That's probably too much, but I want plenty ribbon to be able to tie my bow, so I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to tie my bow on the front. This ribbon just feels lovely, it really does. There we are. Just pull that loop through too. Come on. I don't want a squinty bow though. So let me just, there we are. I'm actually quite pleased with that ribbon, so I am not going to fiddle with it at all, and I'm just going to shorten that tail a little bit and make that about that length. There we are. I'm quite happy with that, so I'm not going to mess about with it. Bring it down a little bit. And then all I need to do is grab my sentiment here. Oops, I'm sticking to the wrapper off my ribbon, and pop that on just with a couple of dimensionals. So I'm going to stick just 3 across the middle like so, and then pop them on. I'm starting to think that this one might have been okay with white cardstock, but we'll go with the Very Vanilla for now, and that's it. So that's my boxes of perfume from me to me, just because I'm quite pleased with myself, and why not, just for a change. So thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you do like the video. If you haven't already subscribed, I would love it if you would. I'm almost at my 250 target of subscribers. I'm aiming for 500 next, so if you would subscribe, that would be lovely. And if you felt that you could share it with anyone else that might want to watch my videos, then that would be lovely too. And I've just noticed before we go, I've not put my bling on. How could I possibly have missed that? Gosh. So I'm going to just do the same again. I'll maybe pop one on this side this time and one up there. There we are. That finishes it off a lot better. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.